Well, hey, everybody, welcome back. This is Get a Job with Andrew and Riley, and I'm Andrew, and
I'm Riley.
And we are talking through calling and clarity and the fit and all of the things that you have to go through when you are trying to land in a new season of ministry.
You are listening to Get a Job, presented by Practically Pastoring, a podcast about calling, clarity, and the awkward in-between.
So this is the fourth conversation we are having as we are talking through Riley's search process. So today we are talking about where to look and where not to look, or what has been and what hasn't been super helpful. So Riley, you've got your resume set up, you've got your sermon videos, you've got your references. Now what? Are you looking for, hey everybody, I'm looking for a job? Are you putting it on search boards, word of mouth, search firms? What are you doing? Where are you looking?
Yeah, not posting on social media because I don't want...
That might not be healthy for the church you are currently serving?
Correct, yes. Not doing that, doing everything I can to protect the church I'm currently serving at.
Probably smart.
But yeah, it is search firms and doing it on my own different... I am at a Baptist church. If you were to cut me, I bleed Southern Baptist. It's just who I am.
I bleed blood.
I bleed Southern Baptist blood.
That's weird.
It is weird. And but so it's, that website, spcjobs.org or com, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. It's spcjobs.something. It takes me to...
I was excited to know if you go to the SBC website, there's a jobs tab.
Yes. And so it's there. And, it's...
You can search by state.
You can search by state. You can search by full-time, part-time. You can search by different titles in terms of, worship, students, family, next gen, senior pastor, lead pastor, teaching pastor, which is nice because you can, and most of the sites you can do this, where what I'm doing, I'm going, okay, I know the region of the country I'd like to live in. Mm-hmm. That is the Southeast. I just am not built for cold. I'm from the South, lived in the South my whole life. I like the South. And so Southeast, so I'm picking those states, and then I'm looking for these types of jobs. Obviously, full-time. Mm-hmm. My family needs to live.
Yes.
And my wife is having another child, so she's not going to be working for a period of time. It'd be nice one day to get a job where she doesn't have to work, and there's an option there for her. But again, this is 2025, and the economy is what it is. So it's finding that, and then searching through the type of jobs I'm looking for. And the hard part is like with this website, the denominational website, there's not really a church profile. Mm-hmm. So you've got to click on the job, and then you're
searching up the church yourself.
Clicking on their website. The website's on there usually. Yeah. Looking the website, looking the church up, going on their social media, seeing, okay, what's your social media? Because oftentimes a live stream, it's not Sunday, it's not live, so you got to find the replay of it, primarily usually on Facebook and different things. And so there's that. And it's just you're clicking through, you're saving some, you're, to show to my wife later, hey, what do you think about this? Applying to some are just like not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So there's that. There's other, sites like churchstaffing.com.
Let me tell you, I wish church staffing was my website. I think it's fairly ineffective, but boy, do they make money.
Yes.
Have you ever posted a job on church staffing?
I have not posted a job on church staffing.
The last time I posted a job on church staffing, I think it was like, $300 or whatever it was. And within 6 hours of the posting going up, it was on page 3. I might have gotten 5 emails. It was a part-time position. I might have gotten 5 emails ever on it. 3 of them were people asking for green cards in order to take the position. So I'm thinking, man, they are making so much money on that website. And it's like a WordPress site that has not changed since 2003. Also, church staffing, if you're watching this episode and you'd like to sponsor us, we can edit. We love church staffing. It's great.
I will say, I get a daily email from church staffing every morning at like 5 in the morning that lists the new jobs.
I think church staffing was created with the searchers first, the job searchers first, and the churches second. The difference being that the churches are the ones that are paying for the posting.
And because I'm too cheap to pay for a premium profile
posting,
where my resume's there and it's highlighted and that kind of stuff, whatever. So church staffing, and I'm so, you can sort by denomination, job type, that kind of thing as well. Another just job board one would be Just Church Jobs is another one that I'm on. That one you can post your resume and have it on there. And
because you made your fancy Canva PDF resume,
it's got to be somewhere.
You don't want to have to copy and paste it into everything.
And there's that, and so I do pay a monthly. It's $10 a month to have it up there. That way I can just click some of the jobs. You click apply, and it just sends the resume. But again, you don't know if it actually sent or not. Because one time I emailed and said, "Hey, I'm just making sure things got across. You have to reach out to the churches." I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So there's that one, and again, you can search by denomination, job type, that kind of thing as well. Another one, churchjobs.net is another one that I've done as well. Basically, what I did, I got on Google, and I typed in church job boards and began to click through which ones were legit.
True story. I get emails every week, because I just don't know how Google works enough. But 8 years ago, I had Google alerts set for church jobs in Florida and church jobs in Arkansas. My wife's family lives in Arkansas. And
As does my wife's family.
There you go.
What?
So I get emails once a month of and Google will compile hey, this is from a denominational website. This is from the Gospel Coalition. This is from Indeed. But Google will send me a list. And as you can imagine, there's way more in Florida than there are in Arkansas, because we've got 8 times the population. Yeah. But Arkansas does have a lot of churches of 12 people looking to not pay a pastor.
There you go.
So if you want...
That's a job I will not be applying to.
Okay.
But
could be really good.
And so there's obviously the job boards, the different ones Andrew mentioned there. I haven't done Gospel Coalition. Maybe look at that one a little bit. And so there's the job boards, but there's also, I forget what the term would be.
The search firms?
Search firms, yeah. And so there are church search firms out there. So, Vanderbloemen is one. You've got Slingshot. You've got Chemistry Staffing. Again, all three of you, if you'd like to sponsor, please reach out. And I will say on the search firms, they're more in depth in terms of the front end.
Yes, I think so.
They do I know Chemistry Staffing had me.
Do you know what it is?
What?
It's almost like church staffing is like Tinder. And and then the firms are going to an actual matchmaker.
Could we create a church hiring app called I don't know what we'd call it, but Tinder for churches? Maybe even this is a completely side conversation, but you move new to a town, find a church I like, and the first time get the first impressions person
just
gets notified.
Think of it.
Andrew, I think maybe should come with some gold right here.
I don't know that you need a job anymore.
Anybody that's an app developer, please reach out and we can get this church finder app figured out.
That would change the world.
It might. Versus going to Google churches near me,
Yeah.
you can just pull up this app and begin to swipe right, swipe left. Do you have a singles ministry? Yes. You read the profile. I'm a 65-year-old single. Do you have a ministry for me? Where I can find my next husband. But I digress. So there are, again, the search firms. So, with Vanderbloemen, they have you fill out a profile on the front end, answer some questions, and then you applied to a job through their website. They'll send you another questionnaire that you fill out, kind of a profile for that job specifically, and then they take it from there. And I've had a few conversations with them where they reach out. Someone from Vanderbloemen would reach out and call me and kind of ask me some generic questions about me and the job, why I'm interested, and how I do some things. And then what they'll do is they'll take that phone call, and then Vanderbloemen has a church consultant that is working with the church directly. So I'll have a phone call with one person who then talks to the church consultant, and then that person will decide if I'm a good fit or not. And so for the one job through them, I was not a fit. Got an email saying, hey, we appreciate the time, but we're just going to move on with other people, which is great. I appreciate the closure.
It's having been at a church that used, we did use Vanderbloemen at Trinity in Texas. You can choose how involved you want to be. So for them, it was a thing where they wanted it down to 3 candidates. And so it was, we don't want to see 50 resumes. We want to see 3. whittle it down to 3 candidates. That's what we want to be presented to us. So that's kind of a neat thing. Now, not all churches have the funds to go ahead and do that, because for a lot of them, it's like, hey, here's what 6-month salary of this position would be. And so we have a money back thing where we're going to make sure you have the right fit and the right person in there. And so I get that, but it's kind of a neat thing that they do work. Unlike the websites that they just repopulate and add more and more postings, the search organizations are actually putting time and energy in.
Yeah. No, for sure. You can tell they've done their homework. Like it's not simply just, hey, no, we want to make sure that we're doing this right. Mm-hmm. And that's the other one, like chemistry staffing is one that I've done. They had you fill out some stuff, and then it was shoot a 2-minute video about you real quick. It's always awkward shooting a selfie video, because it was like you could write a certain amount of words or do a video. Well, I'm going to do a video 10 out of 10 times. And so there's that. And then what I like about chemistry staffing, though, is it is less populated in terms of jobs. But their whole thing is we want to find a job that you're going to be at for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Like they want to make sure it's a good fit, which I appreciate. As someone who is getting ready to move after being somewhere for 3 years, it's not fun. It's stressful.
Yeah.
And having young kids and different things. So I want to land somewhere where I'm going to be for quite a bit of while. And again, they'll send me emails saying, hey, we found this church. We think you'd be a good fit. Would you like to move forward? Yes or no? So they actually ask me before moving forward with anything, again, which is grateful for that.
In my personal experience with the church firms or the search firms, you want to apply to the firm first and not, you see their job posting on whatever and click apply for that job. Always do the profile that Riley was talking about first, because the way that it works with so many of them is the way that their contracts with churches work is if you apply for that one specific church, that one specific role, until you have been eliminated from consideration for the role that you first clicked the link for, they are not free to send your resume to anybody else. But if you go to their submit a profile, or if you apply for get your profile with them and then you click on that role after you've set it up, well, then they can send your profile to anybody else that they have a contract with. So that way you kind of get them working for you a little bit instead of you working for them.
And what's unique too with the search firms is, so far from my experiences, they're all free.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
They're free for candidates.
They're free for candidates, which is great, because some of the job boards aren't free. Like if you want your profile to be kind of highlighted, you have to pay for it. But these are all free.
Converge charges for, and I think they have a background check with it, but it costs you money to apply through Converge stuff. And I think it might be a one-time fee or something, and then you can apply to any of them. But if there's one specific church you're looking for, it's very odd to pay to apply to a job. Yeah. So Converge, do better.
And so
unless you want to sponsor a podcast,
And then another one too is Slingshot, and Slingshot was the one that honestly I was blown away by all of the pre-work. I mean, I filled out pages of questionnaires.
I filled out pages of questionnaires,
and then they asked for references, and I'd have 3 references, and each reference had to fill out forms and submit those forms back in. Yeah. And I got notified when the reference was sent out, when it was finished, completed, and approved. They had to approve what Andrew said, which I don't know how they did that, but somehow they did. And so that one, again, it's and they'll send me emails periodically going, hey, we found some jobs that you might be interested in. And I click on them and look at it and different things and decide if I want to move forward and apply for it or not. So there's that balance. It's nice thing. The church firms, it's nice because they're doing some work for you. And they've got your profile. And they're going, hey, here's a job we think might be a good fit for you. Where the other one, there is more the job board sites or the denominational websites, that is more work on you. Yeah. That's more work on me doing my homework. Okay, this is the church website. This is their current staff. This is their style of worship. This is what their live stream, their social media looks like. So a lot of I can't tell you how many church tabs I've looked at over the past couple weeks. So
again, this goes back almost 8 or more than 8 years, closer to 9 years at this point. And this is my experience because he's fresh in it. So I don't want there's certain things you can talk about and certain things you can't. But having worked through different ways of ending up at a church, I had a really positive experience with Vanderbloemen, and I did not move forward. I was one of the 3 candidates for a position, and it was hey, we don't think the finances are going to match up where you should be and where the church wants this to be. So they kind of were I don't think it would be right for you and your family to pursue this because they're going to underpay you by about 20% of where you think you should be. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. But also, I had like a face-to-face lunch with someone who was I think they're headquartered in Texas, and he was like, I'm coming out and doing 4 Florida interviews. Can you meet me for lunch? We'll pay for your mileage. We'll buy you lunch, kind of thing. And it was as you move forward in the process, the face-to-face, like they really take the time and energy.
Yeah, I can say my phone call was very personal.
Yeah.
The person I talked to was very sweet, and she was very communicated great in terms of like, here's what we're doing now. And before the call, hey, here's the prep. Here's how you can prep for the call. We had the call. She said it would last 25, 30 minutes. It was 25, 30 minutes. I'm honored of my time. And I said, here's what to expect after the call. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was like to a T. Like, everything was exactly how they said it would be.
It's very professional and very precise.
Yeah. And so, shout out to Vanderbloemen. And again, sponsor, please. They do a great job there and stuff.
So are all of the firms that you are working with, like, they ask your permission before they send your resume to somebody, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
None of them, yeah. And then there's one job board where my resume is posted that I can actually, because I paid for like $10 a month, I can see who's viewed my resume.
Okay.
But they say this is not meant for you to reach out to those churches. Like, don't apply to those churches.
It's like LinkedIn where you can turn on or off the, hey, I don't want people to see when I'm on their profile, but I want to see who's been on my profile.
Yeah. And then there's also another thing is networking.
Yeah.
I have using my network of pastors across the country that I've worked for or worked with, and saying, hey, here's my resume. Here's what I'm looking for in a job. If you hear of anything, let me know. Like, I got a friend that works for the North American Mission Board here in Florida. I'm talking to him here coming up, just kind of a conversation of, hey, here's what's going on. I'd love to talk to you about things happening. I've connections with Student Leadership University with some of the guys there. Send them my stuff. Say, hey, here's what's going on. If you hear of anything, please reach out or let me know or let them know, vice versa. And because a lot of churches too, like even churches I've applied to, it's like, hey, I've asked people, hey, do you know anybody at this church or around this area? Because there is that kind of one up, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, you've applied, then they hear from somebody else going, hey, so-and-so reached out to me.
In corporate world, they always say, like, go to LinkedIn or whatever and find someone who's in your alumni network or find someone who you have a shared connection with.
Hey, we'll be in the same alumni network here soon.
We will be. We're about to be.
Yep.
It's going to be very exciting, Riley. So what is the first question, like when you're first seeing a job posting, what is the kind of like your first filter question?
Because I've already done the location. I've already deciphered the location and the job type. One thing to look at is I'm not too concerned about church size, honestly. For me, one of the things I look at is a location of the church. And by that, I mean, the city. And not like where in the city, but the city in general, the area. Because I want to make sure that if I'm applying at a church, it's somewhere that my family is going to want to be at. Having young kids, and Andrew knows we're very busy. We're involved in the community, at sports, different things, and he knows kind of where my wife and I both grown up and what we've been around and stuff, and what we love to do in ministry. I know how I function in ministry, and so it's going, okay, is this not that there's anything wrong with a small town. Some people are called to small town churches. Andrew knows me. That is not me. That's not how I function. That's not me. And so it's going. This is an area that's growing, that has a desire to grow. Has potential to grow, and so I'm looking at where it's located. I'm looking at it's not listed on the websites, but so you have to do your homework. I'm looking at population. I'm looking at population growth. I'm looking at even cost of living. I'm deciphering that.
Life ain't cheap,
because it ain't cheap. Nice thing is, because I live in Florida currently, most likely anywhere I go is going to be cheaper than where I currently live. So shout out to that.
Yes.
And so I'm looking at that, and then also looking at. I'll go to their live streams and I'll watch parts of their services and go, okay, is this a church that I have a sense is going to be, obviously you don't change things right away.
Yeah.
That's going to be willing to change over time.
Also, like for me, it was like, is this a place that my wife and kids could worship?
Correct.
Because there was a season at my previous church where the church that Riley's currently at had a Saturday night service, and we were going to that just so that my wife could have some sense of fellowship that she didn't feel like she was receiving at the church that we were at previously.
Yeah. And that's hard for my situation, because Andrew knows.
Yeah.
Again, I've been graciously blessed by the Lord to be part of some very large, high-level churches, and with a certain style of worship and style of preaching and different things and ministries available to my family and myself.
And when you're going to go to some place that's going to have a volunteer worship leader, and maybe 4 young families, and
correct,
you don't know if you're going to get along with those 4 young families.
And so it's that hard, praying through and looking through my family. Again, some people are called. Everyone is called to certain things. There is nothing like I want to hear that. Like you may think, well, he's called to big mega churches.
I'm called to ministry, period.
I'm called to ministry, period. But I'm also I know how God's wired me.
Yes, and I would not be effective in some places.
Correct, and it's not wise just to take a job.
Yeah.
Because again, if you're a single guy,
if you take a job to take a job, you're going to be looking for a job in 3 years.
If you're a single guy, by all means, you have the ability to do this kind of stuff. But when you're married, you've got kids, a growing family. You got to figure out, okay, where can my family thrive? Because I want to be somewhere. Ideally, I'd love to take a job that I'm at the next 10 years. I would love to be somewhere for a long haul.
My prayer when we ended up here was, God, whether it's kind of being the grown-up in the room leading a student ministry team, and I could do that for the next several decades, or moving to a small local church, my prayer was, God, wherever we end up, I don't want to say yes to anything that does not seem like I could be there for the next 30 years. I was 34, and it was I'm not saying I have to be wherever I am next for the rest of my career, but if I couldn't see myself being there for the rest of my career, I don't even want to entertain it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it for me too. I've been in my current church for almost 3 years. By the time this posts, probably 3 years, and it's going. I don't want to do another 3-year stint. Yeah, I did 5 years in Georgia, which was great. I would have stayed there for a long time if the Lord didn't call me here. And so, for me, I'm thinking, okay, where can I see myself in for 5-10 years, even longer potentially? And so that plays into obviously again just the location, the growth rates, different things. Because again, I am wired that way. And, want to go. And there's the ones hey, you look at a job, we want to hire a young pastor to reach young families. Yeah. And then you look where it's located, and it's the median age is 60. It's
between 2 nursing homes.
You're that's not how it works. I would be the young family.
Yeah. So have you seen any red flags in the listings? You might be looking at listings very differently than the way that I look at listings. I look at listings the way that people watch House Hunters on HGTV. I'm not looking, but I enjoy looking. Yeah. And so there was one, and again, because my wife's family is in rural Arkansas, I have a Zillow list set for anything within a half an hour of her parents' house. And so I always look for churches in that area just for funsies. And boy, I will occasionally find a job listing and send it to the rest of the Practically Pastoring group chat. And I have seen some doozies. There was one that was we want a part-time pastor, but he's going to need to be here to unlock the building 2 hours before church starts to turn on the air conditioning, get the coffee made, and make sure there's toilet paper. I kid you not. This was on their public job posting. And so
nothing like rural Arkansas.
So I had that sent out. By the way, we both love Arkansas. Yep. And so I had that sent out to the boys hey, who's applying to this one? But sometimes, again, the search committees are volunteers and
there are some you look at and it's,
any better.
Yeah, and there's some where it's hey, we are this. I've read job descriptions where it's we are this type of church, and this is who we're going to be. Yeah, and it's I'm good.
Thank you for your honesty.
You are stuck in your ways. It explains probably why you are where you are. I mean that in the most gracious, kind, and loving way. And so there's those, and Andrew knows where I lean. I lean more conservative, my theology, and different things. And so even I look at this current staff, and I see the staffing layout, and if there are certain things to me, I'd say red flag.
Name them.
This is controversial, but women pastors. Okay.
Wow,
I said it out loud.
There goes
I said
any
the quiet
sponsorship
part
we were going to
loud.
get.
I know. You can edit this out. But there are things.
We'll bleep it out.
Yeah. Because I just know I would be uncomfortable.
I thought you were going to say facial piercings and tattoos.
Oh, no. I'm totally cool with the tattoos.
I'm joking.
And facial piercings.
Riley's all inked up. Look at that.
Look at that I've got
guy.
The 2 here, and I'm going to have to get a third one here.
Keep your shirt on. Riley, come on.
And
I always say that when you read through the Old Testament, the first piece of jewelry ever mentioned anywhere in Scripture is a nose ring.
There you go.
So,
and I tell people all the time that in Revelation, when Jesus comes back, it says he has Lord of Lords, King
tattoo on his thigh.
So I'm just saying. Piercings and tattoos, biblical. Take that with what you want. But again, so I do look at things, and so there are things, again, theological I look at of just, hey, you know what? I had one church reach out to me and go, hey, can you read this statement of faith? And where do you agree, disagree? Where do you land on things? And we had a conversation about end times, very briefly, about where I land on the end times.
That's such an odd
Yeah.
thing. Like it's an important conversation that you need to have eventually, but for that to be the first conversation that you have.
Well, this is a church where they, I emailed them my resume. They emailed this, and then I got an email, never heard from them. And then a month later, got an email saying, hey, you made our top 5. And then it was a phone call.
It's like American Idol.
Yeah. And then I got a phone call from the senior pastor. We talked for a while, and then he said, hey, I want you to read these things, and then let me know what you agree, disagree. And that led to the basically he was like, I want to make sure that, if you don't believe there's going to be Christ is going to physically return, like, if you don't believe that, then you're not going to fit here.
So he's not asking you to sign off on the full-on timeline that's in the back of the Schofield Study Bible.
Correct.
But he is wanting you to sign off on a physical return of Christ.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the answer is Jesus comes back and we all win if we're believers. So end of the day. But yeah, so you look at those red flags, looking at, how long have they been looking for a pastor? Is to me is a red flag as well.
How long, or when was the last time they looked for a pastor?
Yeah.
Because I saw one the other day that I'm like, didn't I just read this church's job posting 8 months ago?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
And so there is that as well. And also I found this, a couple of them, there's one job I applied for and then found out that they actually hired a pastor a year ago and the posting was still up as a recent posting.
That's an issue.
And so I was like, oh, never mind on that one. And different things. But again, also, and so do that. I have a Zillow. You mentioned Zillow. I have Zillow tabs on different churches I have applied to, seeing those.
Because you have to have a place to live.
Have a place to live.
Yeah.
And I do look into even the schools as well.
Yeah.
A little bit because my wife is an educator and knowing that most likely she'll have to work. And so figuring that out.
Your wife is an educator and you are a very pro-public school pastor.
I am very pro-public school pastor. I've public school my whole life. My wife public school her whole life. My only private school experience was college.
Yeah.
I graduated with 700 students in my graduating class in high school.
And then
my
you graduated from a
500.
college of 500 people. Not in your class.
No, total.
Yeah.
And so...
Also,
go ahead.
you made a comment about us being in the same alumni network.
Oh, we
that might
are.
have been the last episode.
True.
We went to the same college.
We did go to the same
Riley.
undergrad. Sorry.
Wow. Wow.
Rest in peace.
Just jealous that I went to a better seminary than him. I can't say that. I have to edit that out.
You have to edit that too
because I teach at the seminary.
There you go. There you go. So this is great. Shout out to all the schools that we both attended.
Oh boy.
But yeah, and so I want to, even with churches, I've had a couple phone calls and going, hey, how involved are you in the community? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
That's a big passion of mine. And are you involved in the schools? Are you involved in the sports leagues, different things, the YMCAs, the Boys and Girls Clubs? Like, because again, if I'm not going to be the guy,
yeah.
If I'm going to be an associate, let's say in some place or a campus pastor or something, I want to make sure that I'm joining a staff team that has the same values that I do, that has the same drive and passion for ministry that I do. Because I don't want to go somewhere where I am the one trying to go and everyone else is sitting.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Yeah. And so. Looking at that kind of stuff, and again, looking at the current staff is a big one too. Okay, what's your staff structure look like, depending on the role I'm applying for?
Yeah,
as well.
Who am I reporting to? Who's reporting to me?
Because that's something that in my current situation I ran into is the staff structure is never fully explained. It changed, and that caused some of the rift.
Well, that's kind of like one of the questions I wanted to end with is what is something that you are now like looking at heavily that you wouldn't have thought to look at 5-10 years ago?
Yeah, leadership structure, for sure. And
because 5 or 10 years ago, you were at the bottom of the totem pole.
Correct. And I've crept my way up somehow. And I still look back and go, God, what are you doing? And I trust you know what you're doing because sometimes it doesn't look like it in my own eyes. But so I'm looking at leadership structure. And then if I have opportunity to have a phone call, I'm asking those questions. Like, what does your structure look like? Like, this is what I currently walking in. This is what happened. This is what I experienced. What does it look like in your area, in your church? So I'm looking at that. I am, looking at, for some churches that have the bylaws available, I do look at those and seeing, okay, what's your church governance look like? Are you an elder-led? Are you a committee-led? Are you deacon? Are you congregational? Like, what does that look like? Because that does affect, your job. That affect, who do I have to brown nose? No, I'm kidding. But, like, who do I report to? and who makes the calls.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at that as well, and kind of just all missions. Are you involved in missions? What kind of missions are you involved in? Are you doing local, national, international missions? Are you, again, young family, what does your next gen ministry look like? Do you have a next gen ministry?
Yeah.
If you don't, odds are I'm not applying to your church.
Yeah.
That's nothing against you, but it's just where I'm at.
For my family to
and
grow
is it
and
church
thrive.
where, like, I know here, Melissa here at Safety Harbor for Andrew helps run the preschool ministry, or did.
Yes.
Did. And, like, I know my wife,
Yeah.
that would not work.
Yeah.
And so we've actually made a pact years ago that we would never work at the same church.
Yeah.
Now she works at the school that the church has right now currently.
Hey,
but
what
we're
were you
separated.
What were you guys doing when you met?
I was.
They were working for the same church.
No. She was a volunteer.
Okay.
She was getting ready to start the residency that I was finishing.
Okay.
And so technically I was moving.
Okay.
And she was starting. So
Okay.
that is not true. We had zero overlap actually.
Okay.
But
A couple of rapid fires as we wrap this one up. Have you seen anything in a posting that immediately made you think absolutely not?
doctorate required
Okay.
because I don't have one.
That's a good, fair answer.
Yeah, and even I've seen one. We want 5 to 10 years experience in this size church.
Yeah.
It's like, again, some of these job postings, I was joking with Andrew and others, like they're looking for a unicorn.
Yeah.
I want an MDiv. I want 5 to 10 years experience at this size church.
We want a 35-year-old with 35 years of experience.
Yeah.
Is what most
with
of
an
them.
MDiv. It's like,
Yeah.
not going to happen.
What is the weirdest or worst thing that you've seen in a job posting?
I wouldn't say it was the weirdest or worst, but it was one, it talked about how they're structured with leadership and certain people in leadership. And it said, and we are not going to change.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, at least you're honest.
So you haven't seen any where the pastor is expected to make sure there's toilet paper before the service?
I've not seen that one yet.
I'll see if I can find it and send it to you.
yes.
It was pretty good. It really was very good. So you are now several months into the process. What is some advice that you wish you would have had, or if you could hit the time machine button, that you would go tell yourself at the beginning of the process now that you've been in it for a while?
I would tell myself it's going to be hard. It's going to take time. In my previous times I've been hired on churches, it's been very quick. It's been a 2-month process. It's been like, hey, we like you, fly you in, talk to some people, hey, let's do this thing.
But in those, it's kind of like either like we know you, or hey, your name was given to us. It
Correct.
wasn't.
This was not me.
You were not casting a wide
Correct.
net.
Yes.
You were
I almost said it's not me selling myself, but
Yeah.
that sounds bad.
Yeah, I get it. Though.
And so that, and also just to me, it would be one of pray more. And one thing, it's like, God, you're sovereign. I'm going to throw it out there, but also like praying more and including my spouse more. On the very beginning of this, I was just applying for jobs, not telling my wife. And now I've been like, no, let me talk to her before I even apply. And so we can pray through things together and do that. And also just knowing, hey, you know what, like if I would have known that I'm not going to hear back from people for a long time, it would have made it a lot easier and less nerve-wracking. I was on vacation a week before we recorded this, and I was like trying to turn off the mindset of like checking my email every hour, see if I got anything. And so there was one day, literally, I asked my wife, I'm like, here, can you just like hide my phone? Because anytime the kids got away or like they fell asleep for a nap or did something, I was like, check my email. Because it's just like, it's all my mind's at. And, allowing myself, you've got to create space in your own life to turn that switch off, to just be yourself and be with yourself, be with the Lord. And I would say this too, is like during this season of, most likely if you're like in my season, it's a slower season for ministry, is lean into that and figure out what God's trying to do. There are things when life slows down that you can work on that you never could have worked on before. And so it's finding those things, work on those things, and create habits now that you can carry into what's next.
Because you're not going to get this slow season, like whether it's 2 months, 6 months, whatever it is, when you start at the new place, it's going to be a sprint.
Yeah.
So right now you get to do a little bit more dad stuff. You get to do a little bit more husband stuff that
Yeah, it's creating those rhythms that I can that we're establishing those rhythms now, so that when life gets fast, those rhythms are established. So it's the I say nightly. I'm not that spiritual, but try to do every night we eat dinner together as a family. That family devotion, that coming home earlier to be with the kids right when they wake up from nap time, or it's summer right now, so school's out, my wife's off work, so it's like I make breakfast every morning. Like making breakfast for the kids every morning. You never
make me breakfast.
You don't ask.
Okay.
I'll make you breakfast next time. Okay. And even with my wife, it's like doing those things and being available, so that I can carry that over where the next job is.
Yeah.
And reminding her, saying, when that next job comes and when it gets busy, I can go, hey, I can go to my wife and go, hey, Savannah, like I did this so that I could do this.
Yeah.
We did this, and the Lord gave us this time so that I could be away for this time, for this season to get things started. And so just, recognizing that there's moments where, the God has us slow down to set us up for a step up, if you will.
Yeah.
And so just trusting that, lean into that. And I would say just, it sounds so spiritual, but pray, because there are things that God will do in you, and that God will do just through your prayers. And so, yeah.
Well, come back next time while we hopefully have some new and exciting developments on getting a job with Andrew and Riley. Get a Job is presented by Practically Pastoring. It is recorded and edited by me, Andrew Larson, and it is produced by Andrew Larson and Riley Lester.